Sometimes things don't always go according to plan. You think you're headed down the right path, only to suddenly discover that you've strayed exceedingly far from God's light. Such is the story with this episode of our show, where we mistakenly thought we had a real piece of garbage on our hands, only to discover that maybe this movie is kind of awesome?
Yeah, it's a good movie. We watched a good movie by accident.
We blew it! Welcome to Trash for Trash, a quote-unquote bad movie podcast where we watch so you don't have to. We are your trash men. I'm James Wallen.
I'm Patrick Brown.
And in this episode, we're headed to hell and back, even though I wouldn't mind staying a while longer.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a good movie. And I realized about 20 minutes in, I was like, oh, shit.
We've made a terrible mistake. Either way,
I think this rocks.
we're trashing on 1992's Highway to Hell.
Or 1991, depending on which site you're on.
Tennessee.
Which is very confusing because there's also a 1990 Highway to Hell, which is a different movie.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. It's 90s, clearly 90s Highway to Hell.
I think we were betrayed by the cover art more than anything.
Not just the cover art, because when we were trying to decide what to watch, you also showed me a screenshot, and it had the guy in the Satan makeup.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, oh,
perfect.
Baby, this looks great.
Yeah.
Only to discover, which we'll talk about, that the makeup was kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good, especially for the budget. Like, it's great.
I still don't know how it works.
The blinking with the,
Was he blinking?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was blinking,
I
sometimes
know.
it wasn't. I don't know. Okay, so Highway to Hell, it's like a B, one of those, we talked a lot about how it's one of those weird B movies that came out in the late 80s and early 90s where it felt like anything kind of goes.
Yeah.
High concepts, wild stories,
If
special
you had
effects.
any idea, you could get a little bit of money to make it.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you were just good at what you do, you would get a good movie out of it.
I also wonder if this had something to do with special effects houses at the time. Like, it was kind of a new thing.
Maybe.
These special effects houses, and you could find these alternative groups that could do it almost as hobbyists, because this has a lot of, like, I mean, pretty good special effects. Some of it's dated,
for sure.
But they also have matte paintings and things that make this movie look way larger in scale than it probably had the money to be.
Yeah.
But then also a crazy concept. Okay, so let's talk about where this kind of movie came from. The director is Atta de Jong.
Yeah.
So he's a Dutch filmmaker. He's known for a ton of films I've never heard of.
I just Drop Dead Fred was the only one that I've.
Yeah. It looks like in the 90s, he tried to make some sort of, or his agency or someone tried to break him out into more Western cinema and Hollywood. And so he directed a single episode of Miami Vice.
Oh.
He directed Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah.
He directed this and then appeared to immediately go back.
Fucked off back to.
To the Netherlands or something. And make a ton of critically acclaimed movies.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like he's a schlocky director by any means. Also, I liked, because on Wikipedia when I was looking up stuff about him, the photo that they have for him is cropped in such a way that it's clearly not a photo of him. It's a photo of the two people standing in front of him.
And
that
he's
they
just
cropped in on his shoulders.
Punched in, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny too. The writer, pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Brian Helgeland. Helgeland.
Yeah.
I actually know once I started looking at this person's credits, I was like, oh yeah, but started off with B horror, if you can call it that. His first feature film that got made was Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master.
Okay.
I believe he may have done some horror shorts before that, but then went on and made this shortly after, went on to win an Academy Award for LA Confidential.
That came out 5 years after this.
I was watching an interview with him on YouTube, and he just talked, he's like, yeah, I've written like 80 something screenplays.
Yeah.
He's like, I write all the time.
That's awesome.
I just write movies and do stuff. He's only made like 12 movies have gotten made.
Yeah.
But the thing about, he won an Academy Award for LA Confidential, but the same year also won a Razzie for The Postman. Accepted both.
Yeah.
Accepted both and reportedly keeps both of them together so he can like really balance himself out and understand what Hollywood is. He also wrote Payback.
Yep.
A Knight's Tale.
And directed A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
And directed Payback, I think.
And Mystic River.
That's crazy. Mystic River. Yeah. Man on Fire.
That's
a banger.
This is a very talented screenwriter. And again, when you look at this movie on its surface, you're gonna think, oh, this is just some sort of schlock or whatever. It's just people that don't know what they're doing, just making their own Troll 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you start watching it and you go, oh no, there's talent here.
They know exactly what they're doing, and there's like was clearly a lot of, because those movies, it's like, okay, there was no one met before the movie started filming.
Yeah.
Like maybe the director had talked to like the effects people a little bit and been like, okay, I need this, but like this is like, no, this was a movie.
Yeah,
someone had an idea.
Yeah.
And wrote it down,
and it was tonally consistent.
And they found
throughout.
a director, and exactly. There's like a visual style.
It's weird to think about art or movies or something like that being objective. I like to argue that they are sometimes. I also think my case is being made stronger in the rise of Disney live action remakes, where they're beat for beat making a movie that we've already seen before, but it's worse. Yeah. It's way easier for me to prove my point that it doesn't matter if you liked it. It's bad, objectively. But this is the kind of thing that also works to my favor, because you watch it on its surface, you think it's bad, and you go, oh no, the piece is there. Like the characters have motivations. The scenes are kind of just like the next obstacle.
Yeah, there's for sure something like keeping it from going like the next, but not real. I mean, like, but it's great. It's totally competent. It
feels almost trauma-y, where like I'm sure there's some moral stories and stuff like that in the trauma films that could be told in a much larger scale, but they kind of belong in the trash.
Yeah.
And so that's where this one feels like there's not a version of this that is higher budget and better.
No, I don't think so either.
It's exactly perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
We don't normally mention cinematographer, but I wanted to mention the cinematographer because the visual style of this movie is really great. But Robin Vidgeon did Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And
I've stopped
Hellraiser 2, I believe.
Both great. They're both great.
So there's talent.
And Nightbreed, I think. So he's in the Clive Barker camp.
Yeah.
Although I think also Hellcop, they was from a Clive Barker thing.
Hellcop?
The carvings on his face and stuff are from
inspired by?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because the actor who plays Hellcop, which we're gonna get into the cast, he was Jason. He became Jason in like Friday the 13th. He did like 3 Friday the 13th. This is the only movie he's not been Jason.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so the stars, Chad Lowe, which
you said before we knew who the actor was.
Yeah.
You said
I can't believe a single bottle of Tide cleaned all our clothes.
Really? That's almost 61 large loads.
Hey, my bottle's the same size. Why doesn't it clean the same amount?
The Tide's more concentrated.
So a little bit goes a long way.
Wow, that is a lot more clothes for one bottle.
Maybe we shouldn't wait so long to do laundry next time.
Okay, well, most of this is yours.
Clean 3 times the laundry. It's got to be Tide.
Looks like, what the hell? Goddamn.
What did I say? How did I phrase it?
What'd you say?
How did I phrase it?
I don't remember. You said it looks like Rob Lowe from like in bad lighting or so. I don't
Something
remember,
like that.
but yeah. And then I looked it up.
I would never say this.
No.
But there's a world where a worse version of me may have called him Rob Slow.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It was Rob Slow.
I probably didn't say that, but maybe there's a world where. Anyway, I was
no,
like,
you said Rob High. You said it looks like Rob High. So
yeah,
we were both.
You
were closer than me. Yeah,
he was out of his mind, and then come to find out, yes, younger brother of Rob Lowe.
Yep,
makes sense.
Direct blood relative.
Yeah, and so he's done a couple things, not maybe nearly as much as Rob, his brother, has, but he did like Life Goes
He's got
On.
a huge IMDb that continues to this day.
Melrose
so, yeah.
Place, ER. He's been in a ton of stuff. He was married to Hilary Swank, which I think is something we'd all like to check off our list.
Yeah.
The $1 Million Baby herself, never seen it. Then Christy Swanson is also in this.
Who you may know, who I knew from Dude, Where's My Car?
I was gonna say I was like, oh my God, Christy Swanson's in this, and then you went, oh, Dude, Where's My Car? Big Daddy. I was like, what are you talking about? Because I know her as the '90s dream girl
from Buffy.
Yeah. She's Buffy, and she was
in a
also
lot of shit.
She was in The Chase with Charlie Sheen, which is a movie.
Not seen it.
It was a movie I watched a lot as a kid. I'm pretty sure because it had brief nudity listed under one of its
There's a lot of those
possible things. I used to get the HBO guide. It was a square.
Yeah,
that's what I remember about it, and it's shipped separately than the cable guide, the cable magazine or whatever. And I would scroll through it to look just for movies that I wanted, but at a certain point, I'd scan because it showed what it contained.
Yeah.
And if it had nudity, it's probably gonna for sure watch it.
You're gonna watch it.
Then there was SC, which was strong sexual content, which meant that I would try to watch it, but it's probably gonna be on way too late.
Yeah.
Let's face it, I'll never get around to this.
Yeah.
But then brief nudity would come on any time of day. There was no hours limited, but I knew deep down in the back of my brain that I could sit through an entire movie just to see a guy's butt.
That's the risk, because that counts too.
It's a risk. It could be a nipple. It could be like a brief flash of a nipple,
but it could be a guy's
also
ass.
might just be a guy's butt. And I got to tell you this, 9 times out of 10, it was.
It
was a guy's butt. No regrets.
No
regrets.
No, you shouldn't. You know what? I forgot. This is a recommendation song we'll cover eventually, but Christy Swanson, "Deadly Friend" is something you should check out if you're a fan of these types of movies.
Okay, all right.
I think I showed you the clip. I was amazed you hadn't seen it.
Oh yeah.
There's a basketball clip from that. But you know,
maybe it gets on the show.
Probably know from Ferris Bueller more than Dude, Where's My Car? Now I think. What? It doesn't matter.
Was she in Ferris Bueller?
Yeah, she's the gum, from my uncle's third brother's cousin. That
I thought you were
Ferris
going to
was-
say the Obamagate movie. I thought that's what you were going to say you knew her from.
Well, I didn't want to admit. I didn't want to reveal too much about myself. But yeah, I mostly know her from the Obamagate movie in her role as Lisa Page.
Yeah, we like to stick to her 90s catalog.
Yeah.
That's when I like to remember her most.
She's big into Trump.
This movie also has a ton of cameos in it. Lita Ford.
Yeah.
Who I described as, what did I say?
Stevie Nicks, something.
Porno Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, and I said
nothing against Lita Ford. That's just how she's couched in this film.
Yeah. She is the guitarist for the Runaways. Huge
Pretty
band.
Cool. Pretty
Huge
cool.
band.
Gilbert Gottfried, who we will not give away just yet.
No.
His role.
Yeah.
And then the whole Stiller family.
All of them. The mom, the dad. Ben is in there. His sister is. I don't know who
in
she
there
played,
somewhere, but yeah, Jerry, Ben, and they're all in there.
Yep.
Also Christy Swanson was in The Phantom. Can't forget that.
Oh,
That was in
okay.
The Phantom.
Yeah.
Richard Farnsworth. I'm
Well,
only
you know.
mentioning him because he's a 2-time Academy Award nominated actor. By the time they made this movie, he was like 90,000 years old.
I think it's one of his very last movies. He's in The Straight Story, which is a good David Lynch movie. It's like not a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
I think he made it for Disney.
I almost wish there was. I tried to look up more backstory about like how this.
I couldn't find anything about it. It's like no one gave a shit.
It really feels like there should be more. If we have documentaries about Troll 2, we should have a documentary about the making of this.
I know.
Because there's so we're going to get into the breakdown in just a second. But it's inspired by the Greek story, right?
Orpheus,
Persephone, and
Eurydice.
That's it. Yeah.
And Orpheus.
And Orpheus, and going into hell and pulling it.
Yeah.
But then it has this, which I can only describe as 90s take on it.
Yeah.
Which is what is the 90s version of hell. It's like Wall Street dudes.
Yeah.
Like big exec dudes,
Yeah.
car phones, and everything like that. And corporate hell, essentially. This works really. I said this would work really well as a trilogy. This movie, Stay Tuned, and then Mom and Dad Save the World.
I don't think I've seen that one.
You don't know that one?
I don't think
Jeffrey
so.
Jones and John Lovitz, where the two parents, they're like two squabbling parents, and then they accidentally get taken into space to a whole nother planet. John Lovitz is like a evil dictator. You don't know this movie?
I don't think I've seen this movie. Maybe that's what we watched.
Man, I would watch that movie. I've seen it. I've probably seen it 100 times, but it's great. They have a grenade where it says, "Don't pick me up" on the grenade, and if you do, it blows you up. But his army is so dumb that they managed to get rid of like probably 100 of his troops because they just had set the grenade down and go, "Don't pick me up," and then they blow up and they just keep going. It's awesome. That's a great movie. Omar knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of vision behind this movie. Coming on the heels, I saw one review that placed it kind of like, oh yeah, like on the heels of Beetlejuice, but not quite Beetlejuice.
Yeah, which like, I kind of get what they're saying because there are movies that like Beetlejuice or something where it's a really weird premise that shouldn't. I mean, not that it shouldn't work. Anything can work if you're good at what you do or whatever. But I kind of get what they mean. Like, it feels like there's something not quite there to take it into the next kind of level of like culty thing. But it's still like rock solid.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I was not bored for a single moment.
No.
You're constantly moving, and it feels like they're making something with nothing. I think it's time. We're going to get into the breakdown right after a quick break of our own. I'm gonna rise to the top. Boom, the music. This kicks off, what were they called? Hidden Faces?
Yeah, Hidden Faces, which I think we both thought was a real, like a band. I think
it is a real artist.
It is an artist, but I thought it was like a band,
like
from
someone
the 80s,
that
like
we would know.
Yeah.
I think it was someone from New Orleans, like, music producer that like kind of cornered the market on this genre of music, which is like pop sounds with almost tribal chant. Deep, bassy, tribal chants beneath it. But if you're not prepared for it and you're living in the year 2023, nearly 2024, and then this music hits, it's gonna jar you a little bit. But yeah, so it starts with this music. It's just a guy chanting, and you're like, okay, all right. And this is when I think maybe we were worried we had made a mistake.
Yeah, well,
immediately.
The title card is like a postcard that says "Greetings from," and then like all the names come up, and it did say "Greetings from Highway to Hell."
Yeah,
instead of "Greetings from Hell," which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But then the postcard, like as the credits went on, kept getting like worse and worse. Like it would change to be like it was decaying. Yeah, kind of. And I was like, it's kind of cool. Yeah. It was so strange. One of my third note is this movie isn't bad. I very quickly, I think, keyed in. I was like, what is this? What did we get ourselves into here? Because this seems fine. This is pretty good.
We try and take notes while we're doing this with little quips and ideas and things that we can expand upon.
Yeah.
I started like it was tough. I was just putting down plot points just so I could remind myself, because normally I'm going, these men are apes.
Yeah.
What if they replaced with apes? And I just start musing these thoughts.
Yes.
But not on this. Like, you can see me struggle. So it gets past the postcard, and then it just like, boom, shows an arcade game called Highway to Hell.
Which you very quickly pointed out
is Outrun.
Yeah,
so you're not going to fool me.
No.
Played by a cop, I believe, in some sort of diner. And then the camera slides over to reveal two couples. Or no, two people, one couple.
Yeah.
And it's Charlie and Rachel.
Yep.
And he's kind of got a manic energy.
He's freaking out because they ran away together to get married.
Yeah.
Her parents don't approve of him. So he's scared that the cop is like that her mom called, and the cop is like looking for them to take him home. They're going to Vegas to get married. Yeah. Though. It's like that's the main crux. He's
stressed out though. He's really stressed out, and I was a little worried that he was going to ruin this movie. Like, oh, I see now. This movie could have been something if they had a better lead. Like, he's pulling kind of a Michael J. Fox, only not charming.
Yeah, it's just sort of a
kind of
jittery guy.
Yeah. And so they have this back and forth, but they love each other. They're young and they're in love, and it's unclear how young they are. It feels like they should be able to make their own life decisions.
Yeah, they're definitely like in their 20s. Yeah. Right? I don't know.
And But there's so much stuff there. He's worried about this cop watching him. And then eventually they're like, let's just go. Let's get out of here.
Freaks out.
And he gets into a pizza delivery car.
Yeah, with a huge thing on the roof.
Yeah.
Huge triangular pizza. And not not oriented to push the wind around. Like it would fly off, cause
And
a huge accident.
35 miles an hour or more, that thing is coming right off. But I kind of love when movies do, the fact that he's a pizza guy doesn't play at all into it.
But it's a nice little, it's like a little environmental kind of storytelling.
It immediately establishes kind of his place in the world, right? Like that he is driving his pizza delivery car with his super hot girlfriend to get married in Vegas. Like he's a schlub. He hit the jackpot.
Yeah, I got it.
It's great.
I know so much now just from
never uttered.
That stupid plastic thing on his car. Yeah.
And so if you blink, you'll miss all these amazing details. And I can kind of feel that's immediately how this movie goes.
Mm-hmm.
They hit the road and they think, oh, the cops pursuing us. And so instead of staying on the main highway, he says he's getting paranoid. He decides to turn off to a side road, just to make sure that the cop isn't following him. And when he isn't, he feels a little bit better about himself.
Mm-hmm.
But the road is a little strange, and there's a gas station. What was it, like the last stop, last chance
There's
gas
like Roman
station?
pillars.
With weird Roman
Very
pillars.
Strange, yeah.
A lot of structures that they built in the desert.
Yeah, and I don't think at this point I had realized like, oh, they actually built this stuff, and it was like intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is, because this movie has a ton of sets and miniatures and matte paintings and stuff. Like, it is intentional, whatever it was. But yeah, initially we saw it and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is this Roman gas station in the desert?
It's also like a 50s style gas station.
Yeah, he's got like a big crank that he's pulling to pump the gas.
I was like, Patrick, what's he doing?
Yeah.
What's he doing? He said he's pumping gas. I go, that's not, where does he put the credit card, Patrick? Where does he put the credit card, Patrick?
Where did the credit card go?
But yeah, so he meets this old man who runs the gas station, who is what's his name? Richard Farnsworth.
Yeah, the old guy.
And the guy's kind of creepy. He's kind of weird.
He's the what's it called? The trope.
Oh yeah, like the omen bearer or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's
like, oh, you don't want to go down that road.
Yeah,
he's that guy.
And he's giving them kind of rundown, but he's also creepy. So they're like trying, and
he's mean.
He even says like, go tomorrow.
Yeah,
I got a place in the back.
Yeah, please stay with me.
I got a shack in the back. You guys can sleep together in the back. He goes, I don't care if you bang.
I don't care what you do. I'm not going to hear nothing. He's going to hear everything.
He's going to hear. He said you have privacy, but
because after this scene ends, he goes to the back and he changes the film and all the cameras for like 15 minutes. He's just going through cycling. He sits down at one point and watches a full movie of a previous couple making love.
It's so weird that they put that in. And also it's weird that he has access to video.
He does.
Why is he
because we
filming reels upon reels?
We also see, he says, if you want to rent a videotape, I do that at this gas station, but I don't have regular movies. I only have pornography.
Yeah.
And he shows you, and there's a long shot where it slowly pans across
everything.
Top
you
row.
Read all the labels. It's just dates and stuff, right? Dates. It's dates, genders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then so it pans across the top shelf, and then the camera stops, and you think that's the end. No. It lowers.
Yeah.
It goes down one across, and there's like 6 shelves.
Yeah.
All amateur pornography.
I remember there was one point where it crosses, and I was like, "Is that one of those ladders from libraries to reach the tall?" I was like, "How high up are we?"
And because we don't see the floor.
You never see the floor. Anyway, they decide that they don't want to be with this creepy guy.
Yeah.
And they kind of.
I mean, they make the right call.
Do they?
Well,
we learn that they don't.
No, but like. If
in the
you
moment.
or I were in that situation, I think, don't stay at the strange gas station man's shed.
Yeah.
But
and so they decide to keep driving down the road. And, you know, this part was a little awkward because Charlie, Chad Lowe, he's driving, but she falls asleep and he's like, don't worry, I'll drive. But then he starts to fall asleep too. And I'm like, well, that's irresponsible.
Yeah, you should have stayed at the gas station man's house.
You should
for more reasons than one.
Yeah, you clearly needed a film made of you tonight.
Yeah. Is this where Hellcop shows up?
Yeah, he spins out. Remember, for like almost no reason, he spins out at the worst possible
I think he falls
time.
asleep and it's like running into a billboard.
Yeah,
he freaks out and like,
Yeah, and so behind that billboard is a cop. Oh, great. a cop.
Ay.
But as the cop approaches, he realizes it's no regular cop.
He's got handcuffs.
Yes.
Describe
them.
Cuffs. It's two rotting hands with a chain betwixt them, connecting them, and the hands like grab your wrist and whatever it puts them on. So it's literally handcuffs, but with hands.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So he kind of tussles with this hell cop he still thinks he's like a regular cop. There's like stuff happening where he gets put up against the thing, but the cop's covered in scars, and he's clearly
he's wearing like, it almost looks like a Nazi SS uniform or something.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a cop uniform. He's bald and like covered. His face is like covered in burns and carvings, like scars. And then he has sunglasses that are like completely covering his eyes, but also like in the skin. The skin is grown over these sunglasses.
Yeah. He's like that one of the gods from Berserk. You know, the one that has the sunglasses?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
But while he is getting, like, the girlfriend wakes up, and then he immediately goes after the girlfriend. He, like, grabs her.
Yeah, like
throws her in the back
of the car.
Throws her in the back of the car. And it's clear he's after something. He's just kind of silently knocks him out. Oh, they have a dog, too. Forgot to mention that they have
the
a
dog
dog.
Comes and goes. It's important in one scene.
He's a very cute dog.
Yeah, it's a cute dog.
The most 90s dog you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Big fluffy thing.
I would describe it as a scamp.
Yeah. Yes. Scamp-like dog.
Yeah.
And then he drives off with her.
Yep. So Charlie goes back to the gas station.
Yeah.
He
What
says,
the hell just happened?
And the gas station guy's like, this is what happened. First of all, would you like to watch a tape?
Yeah. So they sit down.
They take a seat.
They watch
both
4 or 5 tapes.
masturbate.
Because it's called a quadrilogy. He says.
Yeah. It's 4 thematically linked couples.
Yeah.
But the gas station guy is like, oh, this actually happened to me a while ago. And Hellcop took my wife. She was into crafting.
Yeah.
She made this, and he gives him a sawed-off shotgun with some seashells stuck to it, and it's painted. Do we ever find out what was special about the gun?
No.
Because he says it's like a special gun, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't remember if he says specifically like this gun is like the only tool you have to fight against it, but I honestly think it's mostly sentimental.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure it's sentimental.
I got it.
Because it looks like shit.
Yeah,
it looks like something
she didn't do a
child
good
would
job.
bring
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And then he's like, oh, and these are the special bullets you need too. But it's clearly just regular shells that have like some sort of Sharpie marker.
He uses
drawn on
them later, and it doesn't.
It doesn't work on Hellcop. It does kill some other. He does kill other.
Yeah, I suppose so.
This is also around the time where Patrick told me the story about your grandfather.
Oh,
had
yeah,
a sawed-off shotgun,
and
when you found out that your father rightfully got rid of it as it is illegal, you scolded him for it.
I was mad. I was like, why the hell would we get rid of it? I'd probably just watched The Road Warrior for the first time. I was like, that's the coolest thing anyone can own.
Yeah.
And you just did away with it?
Well, you
like
can
nothing?
make them. That's the beauty of a sawed-off shotgun.
I suppose I could.
They can be made.
I guess I could.
Their crudeness is kind of
part of it.
Yeah, it's kind of part of it. But yeah, so this guy knows that he goes, that's the Hellcop. Actual name Sergeant Bedlam.
Yeah.
I think is kind of cool. And that I don't remember. He kind of just says like, yeah, if you're going to do this, do it right. Go after the person you love, and gives them the shotgun, some bullets, and a car.
Which he's like, there's a little something in there for you.
A little something special.
Doesn't tell him what it is. Should have.
Should
no
have,
reason
yeah.
not to.
Could have been really
We
important.
find out later,
He
yeah.
Well, he shouts afterwards. He's like, there's something important in there.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
Okay, that's good screenwriting. You're seeding
Yeah.
something. I had it in the back of my mind the whole time. But yeah, it's like a classic old, I don't even know what it is, a Ford Galaxy or something.
Some ancient car, yeah.
But it's done up real nice. And so then this becomes kind of like the thing. Kind of the way Ash from Evil Dead is the blue shirt and the missing hand and the shotgun.
Yeah.
This is Chad Lowe looking twerp with this car and his seashell shotgun.
And changing t-shirt and shirts.
He changes
that
shirts
kind
a
of
couple
change
times.
every time he gets in or out of the car.
And he finds his way into hell. There's like a portal that opens for him because he has to believe.
He has to drive in circles a lot to get there. At one point, he does put the shotgun in a real cop's face.
Right. He gets pulled over.
But it's fine. He gets out of there.
Yeah. He thinks it's the hell cop. But,
Yeah.
And then he blasts away through a portal, and then boom, he transports to hell. And I made
Which is
a note.
the Utah desert.
I made a note here. Doesn't look anything like Ohio.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me because when I think of hell,
yeah.
But yeah, it's in the middle of the desert, and that's kind of one of the things that I love about this movie is that they just went out to the desert to empty places on abandoned roads and built stuff and filmed stuff.
When we were talking about watching this, we were saying like, you said like, I bet this movie takes place entirely in the desert, in a bad way.
Yeah, in a bad way.
Because there are a lot of these movies where there isn't. It's just
like
dog
Zizix.
shit. Yeah. It's like, what if, and this would always piss me off so much when you rent a movie as a kid where it's like, you would read the description for something and it would read like this. And you're like, that sounds sick.
Yeah.
And then you get it and there was like $20 to make the movie. It's literally just 4 people in the desert.
Yeah.
And that's it. Maybe they have a car and that's like the one prop the movie had. And it sucks. This is not that. It does take place entirely in the desert, but to great effect.
Yeah, kind of good road trip through hell. That, And they're also like, oh, he's taking her to Hell City, right?
Yeah. There's lore.
It's like downtown hell.
Yeah.
But if he gets her there, it's going to be too late. So it's a race against time. And anytime you do that, I'm like, ooh, I want to see Hell City.
Yeah.
Bad movies don't take you there.
No, they don't.
You get close, but you never actually get there.
Yep.
This movie gives you a badass matte painting of Hell City, and then you go in to Hell City, and you get to see some of Hell City. So this delivers. And also, we land in the desert, but then almost immediately show up at Pluto's Diner.
Yeah.
Which is the first really weird stop on this whole Dante's Inferno type thing.
Ben Stiller is outside cooking eggs on the sidewalk.
He has like a line cook or something.
Oh, and this is we switched to Hellcop. Hellcop and what's her
Rachel.
name? Rachel are here. He takes her and he handcuffs her to the counter.
Yeah, something on the counter with the handcuffs.
But the diner is filled with like dead cops.
Yeah, like dead highway
Like zombie
patrolmen
cops.
or highway patrolmen who died in the line of duty, which is like weird but kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's like jam packed, and they're struggling to make. But I also thought it was funny how like the different. Like one guy has like a bullet in his bullet hole in his forehead, and another person's throat is whatever, and then there's one guy with like a slightly blackened eye. I'm like, what happened to him?
Yeah. And this is Jerry Stiller. Is the dead cop with the lines, I guess, in this scene. But and I think it's what's her name? Anna something, right?
Ann Mira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the waitress.
The waitress, yeah.
Who's like a zombie waitress. But they're playing it like she's just a diner waitress from a movie. Like kind of flirting with everyone. Big, whatever. And it's great. This is also, I was waiting for something to happen that I'm like, oh God, but it just kept not happening.
It feels kind of like filler, but it's kind of really entertaining filler, which is what a lot of this movie is filler. They go to a place, they get a bunch of people to chew scenery in it, but there's like cool special effects, and like the idea of it alone is pretty fun. So yeah, the Jerry Stiller cop starts making trouble, or he gets in the face of Hell Cop. I don't even remember what it was kind of about. But either way, Hell Cop says, that's about enough of you. And he pulls out his awesome gun that looks like something I would have made out of toilet paper rolls as a kid and silver spray paint. And then blasts him, which sends him swirling, I am assuming, into some sort of purgatory or...
Well, they're not quite in hell yet.
So maybe
they are on this is the road too.
Fast forwards them.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hell.
Or it just makes them gone entirely. You just don't even, the scene exists basically to introduce the biker gang.
Yeah, so because she then takes hot coffee.
Or it's like sludge. It's like
or
tar.
Something, and then pours it on top of the handcuff, which causes it to like let go of her.
She
and I'm
runs
like,
off.
well, then you should just use regular, because that wouldn't happen with metal handcuffs.
A metal handcuff would be much more effective in that scenario.
Yeah, you couldn't like tickle your way out of those.
Yeah.
So he might want to rethink that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she runs off.
Encounters this biker gang.
Yeah.
starts with an R, the guy's
Royce.
name. Royce.
Royce.
Is the kind of the leader. He's, as a character, mostly interested in securing favors.
He only
from
wants
people.
favors from people.
Keeps asking everyone for like, not even like for, I need you to, can you run to this place for me? No, it's
No.
like, I want to bank a favor.
Yeah.
I want a favor in my back
I'm
pocket
gonna call
from
this.
you.
I'm gonna call
Yeah.
this back in several hundred years.
Yeah.
But he's useless to her. He basically, and it's kind of the way it's shot is kind of cool because you just see Hellcop walking like the Terminator in the background,
Just
as
slowly
they're
walking up
and
throughout
you're
the whole
like, they
scene.
better do something sooner.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna catch up.
Yeah.
He catches up. And then so he basically says to Hellcop, "Oh, your little person got away. Well, someone's not gonna be happy about that, but I won't tell anybody
Yeah.
if you owe me a favor." And so
Sure.
they shake on it or something. They
Yeah.
agree. And then it's back to business for Hellcop.
Yeah.
I believe that's also around the exact same time that Charlie shows up. So there's kind of like a just missed it kind of
Yeah.
vibe there.
Yeah.
And then we go back on the road. And then a lot of random stuff happens.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, they chase each other. That's it. They get into a
Yeah.
I know we love our chase sequences here.
There's a lot of
There's a
this
lot
one,
of
yeah.
them. They get into like a chase, and then Hellcop is like shooting out the headlight,
Blasting up
and-
his car.
Yeah, and wrecking up his car a lot, and doing stuff like that. But so eventually he gets sidelined off the side
Car
of the
breaks
road,
down.
and that's when Porno Stevie Nicks pops in, right?
Is it?
I think so.
What was her? I don't remember what her like.
She just was like a hitchhiker.
Is that
Or
what
something.
it was?
She was just like on the side of the
Yeah.
road, and she had her cleavage out, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, you want to do it?" And it's like temptations. I think there's something to
Yeah,
do. He
I'm
gets
sure
tempted
there's-
a lot
Yeah, yeah.
by all kinds of different, very hot things.
But he says no.
He says no.
They're all hot.
If it was a test for me,
Fail.
immediate failure.
Yeah.
Again and again.
It's also established pretty early on that they're all both virgins.
Yeah, both of them are virgins.
That's important to this
Yeah.
movie. But
Um,
who picks him up? Who saves him?
Beelzebub.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Sorry, Beezle.
Diesel.
Well, you pointed out as soon as he calls a mechanic. Oh, I made a note. He calls the motorist aid, which is just a telephone in the middle of the desert. And the person, he's like, "Hey, my car broke down." And he's like, "Hey, what seems to be the problem?" And "Oh, I think it got blown out or something. Can you send someone?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll send someone out." You idiot! And then,
Yeah,
like it just
yeah.
just becomes like a prank line, and they're like, so someone in hell just sits there
Yeah.
waiting for someone to ring that line.
Who needs
so he can
someone to need
lead
help.
him on,
Yeah.
and then prank him out.
But Beezle picks him up in his tow truck with a boy, Adam.
Yeah, little boy.
Strange boy.
Yeah.
Strange haircut.
It's one of those 90s boys where you're like, is
Yeah.
that a man?
Yeah, is that a little man
That
or is
might
it
be
a boy?
man. And then Beezle agrees to take him back to help him fix his car and get him back on his way. But
And he's a nice man.
he's a nice guy. But there was something about
something's
Beezle I
off.
didn't trust.
Something's off.
And we're going to get into what that may be right after this break. So we're at the mechanic,
Mhm.
Beezle the mechanic. We find out a little bit about the boy.
He wants to go back.
He doesn't even belong there. His
Yeah.
family was,
Hellcop murdered his family and
Yeah.
saved him and
And his
brought him to
dog, too.
Beezle. Oh,
which
thank
is
God,
why
his
he
dog.
likes this dog so much.
Oh.
But yeah, he's a little weird kid. So Beezle sends him on his way. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Good luck out
Kid
there."
hitchhikes.
Oh, he also says, "Hey," he's the one who mentions the virginity thing. He's like, "You guys haven't banged yet, right?"
Oh.
Because the devil won't want someone
He's all used up.
who's all stretched out.
Yeah.
So he really loves virgins.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight is such a funny thing for Beezle to have said as
Right.
he's like driving off.
Yeah, he's like, hey,
Remember,
don't fuck her.
no, he was like, "Fuck her.
Oh.
First chance you get,
Yeah.
you want to pound it."
Yeah.
Because he goes, because I mean,
The
devil wouldn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. And then, so now we get some more kind of cool set piece stuff. The highway.
Yeah. I mean, it's very clever. It's like the good intentions thing. So all the people are coming up and stating their like good intentions or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're thrown into a grinder and their body parts are used to pave the road to hell.
Yeah.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
It's pretty cool.
You get
So
it?
like has a line of people is
Yeah.
like, I only slept with my husband's boss to try and help him get further in his career.
Yeah.
I only did this, that. It's all these people getting lined up
Yeah.
and then getting thrown into Grindr. And the people throwing them in Grindr are all dressed like Andy Warhol.
That I didn't understand.
There were a couple connections here
Yeah.
where it's clear that the people making the movie
Something is
had big
going on.
opinions that I wasn't
Yeah.
tuned into
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah, something's going on, but I did not understand the Andy Warhol.
But it was basically just an excuse so that way as Charlie and this kid are having a conversation, they're kind of going through something.
Yeah.
A worse movie would just
Yeah, yeah.
have them going down the road.
Right, yeah.
But this movie has him like stopping, waiting for construction, and then at
Mhm.
the end, like some parts plop on him.
Yeah, like a
and,
leg.
yeah. And it's kind of cool.
It's really cool.
It's kind
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
And so let's see what happens after this. Oh, Hoffa's.
Hoffa's, yeah.
Hoffa's, of course. You want to take Hoffa's, Patrick?
Sure. They stop at another. It's like this is like the seedy casino or whatever, and there's this giant like paper mache looking Jimmy Hoffa
I guess.
holding an AK-47, which I don't know that Jimmy Hoffa was.
You think Tommy gun, if anything, but even
I mean,
that
was
is
he-
like
I don't even
60
think
years
he was
too
the
late.
one doing much of the shooting,
No,
right?
it should be
Uh,
like financial documents.
Whatever, and like a slot machine in his
Mhm.
chest or something. Very cool. Like it was a miniature or something, I think, but it
Mm-hmm.
was really cool. So they go in. It's a casino. It's like a strip club. Nude women dancing everywhere.
And also pretty close, very close to Naked Man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is this where Genghis Khan and
Yeah.
all that?
We meet a lot. There's a lot of hell people that
Yeah.
belong in hell that are in hell here. So
It's Genghis Khan, played beautifully by Ben Stiller,
mhm.
Mongolian man.
Yep.
And Hitler.
Yep.
Hitler's
Hitler's
there.
there.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert
It's
Gottfried
That's
pops in.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
not particularly good at a German accent, I'll say.
No.
Did
No,
not do a very great
Yeah,
job.
not
with
good.
the
I also
accent,
also they were like just vamp as Hitler.
yeah.
And most of what he's saying doesn't. It's like talking about being a little boy trapped in Hitler's body.
He's talking about how he's not actually Hitler. He's trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's been framed or set up or
Mhm.
something. Also, a guy like sticks his hand in the cage where the strippers are dancing and gets set on fire.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Don't
touch the strippers.
Cool little detail.
Yeah. Also, I
Um,
like that they protect the strippers there
In
at
hell.
Hoffa's.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Hoffa's
like
takes care of his own.
Yeah, yeah. You work at Hoffa's, you're safe. You're one
good.
of us.
Yeah. Helicopter's there. Rachel is in a cage,
Yeah.
but she's not stripping. She's just
No.
in the cage.
She's in the cage.
He gets her out. Helicopter though, comes, sees him. I think he shoots Helicopter. Nothing happens. He's fine.
Yeah.
Just when I was like, why did he give him that gun? It seems like it. doesn't-
He killed an ice cream man earlier,
He did. Yeah.
and it popped his head real good. But against Hellcop, I think Hellcop
Nothing.
is probably like a level 7 demon or something.
Yes. So Helicopter steals the gun though and kills him. He kills Charlie.
Yeah.
Shoots him right in the chest.
With a sawed-off shotgun, which you remarked, that hole is too small.
It's one hole.
Yeah. It's not a spread
It's
pattern.
point blank. Which look, even if we're talking slugs, that's your
Yeah.
whole chest is gonna explode.
Yeah.
So luckily, something went wrong in the gun.
Yeah.
And just a little piece of buckshot kind of got out and
Different,
hit him in
yeah.
the chest.
Different kind of. The shells redirect.
Yeah.
The pellets. But yeah, so there's a shootout. I made a note here that I don't even remember why,
Mhm.
but it just says died in a shootout at Hoffa's, killed with my own gun. And the way it's written doesn't sound like I'm describing the movie.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a bit or
It sounds
something.
like it's what I wanted my gravestone to
Oh, okay.
say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Hellcop takes Rachel away. He's back on the road, and it looks like Charlie's gonna die, except that
Beazle
Beazle shows up.
pops in there. He heals him.
Yeah,
Makes
but
him all better.
He doesn't
Or
just
Adam
heal
heals him, right?
He gets Adam to heal him.
Yeah, he puts
because
his hand
he's
on him.
talking about how like he's trying to teach Adam his things and stuff.
Yeah, and at first I was like, is Adam supposed to be like Bible Adam? I mean, it doesn't make sense because they had a dog and
Yeah.
a car crash that he was in, but whatever. Yeah, I didn't really understand what he was trying to train him to be the new devil or something. Maybe
Something like that. Yeah. It looked like stakes. I mean, what you end up learning is that like the devil has like a bunch of failed prodigies and
Yeah,
progenies,
I think. Yeah,
right?
yeah, project. Yeah,
Not prodigies.
they're like
he may also have failed prodigies, but he has failed progenies.
they're students, kind of.
Yeah.
Like people he's raised up to do whatever, and none of them have really worked out for him.
No. But either way, he's there. Beazle helps him and then kind of sends him back on his way again.
It's the motel cave.
Yeah. Yes.
This is also and the freeway thing, I think, are the coolest, two of the coolest things to me. Is he goes to this, he ends up at this cave.
Which you've seen, if you've seen these caves in movies and stuff all the time. They're like the painted caverns or something.
Yeah. Strange desert formations. It's called Nowhere. There's like a road sign in the middle of this cave that just says Nowhere. But yeah, he walks into a cave, he's inside, and then all of a sudden there's just like a door in the cave. He goes in and it's an apartment building, like he's inside an apartment building.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It reminds me of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yes.
There's like some visual elements in that, like especially when they're going into their own hell. Yeah. And it's like got like, give us a kiss. And she's like chasing him. Like there's some weird, creepy Tim Burton-y stuff in this.
Rachel's in there. She tries to fuck him. She's tied to the bed.
She's tied down.
In like some kind of sheer.
Yeah. But she's like, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Just fuck.
And I'm thinking, well, Beazle said that's the safest way.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, heck
Get
yeah.
Get it in.
But they're interrupted. He's resistant. He's like, let's just get out of here.
I know, this seems weird.
It seems weird. She's not acting like herself, but Hellcop bursts through a wall.
Pops in.
They fight. They struggle a little bit, but he gets his hands on Hellcop's gun.
Pops him.
Blasts him, and the only thing it leaves behind are like a couple
boots and sunglasses, which is important later.
Very important.
And then he looks in the mirror and sees that it's not Rachel. It's actually a hideous succubus demon.
Yeah,
it's like he then decides, oh, I will lie with you then.
Yes,
and have you.
And then that's when the camera pans up and you see a small hole cut in the wall, and you hear a 16mm camera rolling in the background. There's the old man, and he said, "This is my best film yet." And then it hangs on that for, I want to say 25 hours.
It shows the full love scene.
Yeah,
where he lies the demon down and crawls atop her. Yeah. Well, and then she flips him actually and says, "No.
Yeah,
I'm topping you."
She does
today.
she does the thing where she holds his legs.
His legs up.
Yeah.
So that's another just like weird kind of 25 minute scene.
Yeah. But in another version of that, he resists her.
Yeah, in a different take.
He resists her, and then you get a kind of really cool prosthetic outfit of this demon.
Yeah, like chasing him around.
Sexy demon.
The coolest thing, so he like gets a piece of glass. She's like attacking him or whatever. He gets a piece of glass, cuts her tail off.
Oh yeah.
And the tail is like
independently wriggling.
Like a snake or something going crazy. Yeah.
But like
it's just a cool
set.
detail for a movie like this.
On set. It's not a CG thing.
No, yeah.
They had it in such a way that when he cuts it, it's gonna like and shoot away.
Which is like it's not crazy, you know, but in a movie like this, it's like, oh, they are thinking about like just little like, hey, that would be, you know, it'd be cool as if the tail kind of had a mind of its own.
I think it's textural, and I think it's always going to be the difference. Yeah. I'm not a CG hater. I think, you know, special effects done right are mind blowing. But I also think in this situation, you're like, oh, someone thought about that. Like someone thought about that before they shot it. So much of CG are animators, it feels like, after the fact coming in and going, how can we add detail to this scene by, you know, but ultimately someone was like, oh, okay, we did it. And they're like, oh, it worked. This was like, they had to go action, do the thing as someone planned it and hope that it hit the ground and wriggled away the right way. I don't know.
For like
cool
a 2-second shot.
Yeah. So he runs off.
He gets out. He realizes
he pushes. He like stabs her and then pushes her into the bed.
Oh yeah,
she
falls into like a bottomless pit into hell. Yeah, that was the ruse, was to get him on the bed. And,
which I would have gone for. What a way to go.
Oh yeah.
And he runs off, and as he's running off, he sees like the facade of this place starts like disappearing. Like even the cop car that was out front. It was all fake. And he's like, oh no, I lost valuable time. So he hits the road, and then we get on the freeway to hell.
Is this where it's all the VWs?
Yeah.
And he's so Hellcop is on the. There's like hundreds of VWs in this scene.
Yeah.
Like old VW bugs.
It's like a 10-lane highway or something, and it has
Which
all
is
these
where
signs.
was this? Where did they film this?
I don't know.
Because it is like it's a huge freeway.
Yeah, it's the same place where they filmed that Matrix freeway.
Yeah, they
scene.
built their own
The
freeway for
desert,
this movie.
the desert highway.
Yeah.
And special shout out to the Pontius is my co-pilot bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Which really amused me on one of the cars.
Yeah.
It's packed full of details. All the road
I
signs
know.
are going to, one goes to Pandemonium, one there's
Yeah.
all these different exits and stuff. And then they go into like a cool underground tunnel. He veers off, and then it's like almost an exit to death.
It's a cliff, yeah.
But then you get a great shot of Hell City. It's like, oh, across the river
Yeah.
Styx is Hell City.
I said it looks like Mega City 1 from Judge Dredd.
You did say
it's
that.
kind of that
You did
vibe.
say
It's a
that.
huge wall and like a big, cool city.
And I remember when you said that, everyone clapped.
Everyone clapped.
And then
They loved
the
it.
camera panned up and revealed there was a hole in the ceiling, and
they
you
were-
heard
yeah.
the film reel recording you. And so he, I guess, can't. They don't necessarily say he can't just drive in, but I guess he's assuming he can't drive in, so he decides to sneak in
Yeah.
via
Karen? And the
yeah, the
Chiron?
river Chiron, via the river Styx.
Mhm.
There's also a really cool stop motion Cerberus
Yeah.
dog that his dog finally comes into play.
Yeah, that's
by-
it's the whole dog. The dog exists just for this
just
scene.
for this
Yeah.
scene, but it's pretty great
Yeah.
because then the dog like pees on some of Cerberus's stuff.
Just
and then
pisses him off and
that
distracts him. Yeah.
so that way he can slip by. And then he gets on the boat and
You know who that guy is? The
uh-uh.
Chiron or whatever. It's first of all, he looks cool. He's got his eyes sewn shut.
Yeah.
It's like the full thing. That guy plays the Predator.
Oh,
That's
okay.
That's the guy, Kevin
The
Peter
tall,
Hall.
extremely tall,
Yeah.
long man.
Yeah, that's the Predator.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
Yeah.
This has got Predator in this.
They go down the river Styx.
He like hops off at a certain point. He gets some sort
Yeah.
of warning about like
He
look-
can't go back.
don't
or
go
something,
back. Yeah, there is no going back. And then we finally get a good look of like Satan's like Hell City as it's full. And there's lots of guards walking around, but
Yeah.
it's like French Napoleonic soldiers, Confederates.
Confederates are in there.
Confirming
Yep,
bad
they go
guys
to
because
hell,
I
they
know
went to
people
hell.
always want to. They're like,
They're
who were the
wondering what
bad
you
guys?
think. Yeah.
Who was
It was the
Confederates were
Yeah.
bad guys there.
Yep.
And then also the apple from Eden with a big bite taken out of it.
Yeah, it's in like a case on
like
display.
like a huge award, which
Yeah.
is so pretty sick. And then he makes his way into like the penthouse and finds Rachel.
Satan. Oh yeah.
Rachel there, but
First,
yeah.
yes.
But basically gets to the penthouse. And I also appreciate there's a Hieronymus Bosch painting in the background.
triptych. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then they're like, let's get out of here. But before they can, they meet Satan, who is the still image you showed me going, should we watch this?
Yeah, and it looked corny or whatever.
In the
but
still.
Yeah.
In this, it was pretty sick.
Yeah. Whatever you were freaking out over the like eyes.
I don't understand.
Yeah, well, so I think what it is it's obviously like a big prosthetic face, but it's not like a mask, but it's a lot of prosthetics.
Like a headpiece, yeah.
Yeah, and but the eyes, it seems like the eyes are like not contacts and makeup, but like a part of the prosthetic is the eyes, but they're like blinking, and
But then they would move.
Yeah, and the eyes are moving all over the
But
place.
I think it was only in some shots. So I think
Yeah,
like there's a
probably.
point where he's just like lecturing them about hell and the state of hell and what he wants her for and all these things, and they can't escape and their love doesn't. He's basically trying to demoralize them, and he's not blinking at all, and the eyes don't appear to be moving.
Yeah.
He's like, clearly someone's there, like, talk towards my voice, because the actor doesn't know where he's looking. But then then there'll be another shot where you can't see it as clearly, and it will blink or the eyes will move. And I'm like, it was just throwing me off.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And it was really well thought out.
Yeah.
But basically he makes a deal with them. He's like, all right, well, I can't keep you here. I guess I'm not allowed to keep you here. He also likes to play games.
He does. He's a
devil.
gambler by trade.
He plays games.
Yeah.
So he basically says like, all right, I'll let you guys go, but
How do they convince him of that to let them go? Is it like, because he makes a deal later to get out, but like, what was I don't remember in this scene how they were just like convinced him to be like, yeah, I guess you can leave. Fine. I think it's also there's a vibe in this that I thought was kind of cool of like, look, I'm the devil. I don't really care.
I think
I got other shit going on. Like,
yeah. I think he just like was like, wow, you did a lot of work. Go for it.
Yeah.
You give it a try. I mean, that's kind of his whole vibe. Is he's like, yeah,
fine,
shoot your
whatever.
shot.
Yeah.
And so
you can't look back.
but don't look back.
They get Orpheused.
They do several times.
They do.
I don't know what the definition of "don't look back" is in this context.
The one in the movie is she like. You remember when all those people in like the weird bodysuits come out? So that is when he looks back. Because she falls down or she like trips when they get to Hellcop's car, which they're stealing or already stolen. And he like looks back. He doesn't like look back. He just like turns around to grab her and like help her up. She's like, "Don't look back." That's when all the guys come out.
Oh,
but
okay.
in the Orpheus thing, it's like
it's instantaneous.
Game over. She's gone. She's back in hell.
Yeah.
This is like, well, no, we just send some guys after you if you look back.
It's just a punishment.
But they just drive and get away.
Yeah, they escape. They get back to their car, which was still parked on that cliffside before he got into the River Styx. He like shoots the engine out of Hellcop's car. First,
Hellcop's car like blasts out of Hell City across the river and like lands next to the car on the cliff.
But so then they drive off. But then they also decide, because at some point along the way, Adam gets taken.
The boy.
Yeah. And so he
like,
established a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And so he was like, we got to go get this kid. And that involves going back to Beasel's. But when he gets there, it's the full reveal that Beazle is the devil.
Yeah. Which
we knew.
Yeah,
at this
it's pretty
point.
obvious.
You pointed out when he pulled up in his tow truck that it said Satanic Mechanic. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
And so he's there, and then the devil makes he basically lays it all out. Here he goes, listen, I want to bang this chick.
Yeah, your wife, your fiance.
I want to bang her.
Yeah.
But it would be, what did I write here? One last hell race. So if they can get out before a hell cop gets them, then they'll let them go. No problem.
Of course.
But he goes, if Charlie loses, the devil gets to bang Rachel, and she has to like it.
Yes. Yeah, those are the terms.
Those are the terms.
And this is all like, Charlie just is like, no, I'm taking Adam out of hell. And the devil's like, the hell you're not. And he's like, I will race you. And if I win, I get to take this boy out of hell.
Yeah.
If I lose, you get to bang my wife.
It seems not married yet, but
my fiance.
It seems like intent is a big thing here too, because even with Adam, he's like, Adam doesn't want to go here. He wants to stay here and be my hell boy. Yeah. And then he goes, Adam, you want to stay here? And he's like, I want to go with you. Yeah, he's like, all right, okay. I have to at least concede that. Yeah. But it's not necessarily a fair race. So they blast off, and then Hell Cop is quickly in pursuit of them. But then also now the bikers come into play.
So Royce or whatever was like a former
Hellboy,
one of
son of he wants to be the Antichrist, I think, is his big thing.
He's mad because Satan's letting Adam go or giving him the chance to leave or whatever. And he is not getting that chance.
Yeah.
So he's pissed off. I thought he was helping them though. I thought he was like, no, I'm gonna let them.
He's stabbing his sword. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So he attacks them. He's stabbing his sword in there and everything. And that one kind of just ends.
Well, so what we find out, the movie clues you into is that he's got a girlfriend. He's got a girl.
Oh yeah, who is?
And it's Clara,
the wife of the gas station man.
Yeah. Who, or maybe not wife, because she, I guess, was a virgin or whatever. They only take virgins in there. So but she's
not
there.
Anymore.
She's still kind of empathetic to their plight, but has also kind of bought into the fact that her boyfriend is like, top 5 hell guys. So they're going away, and she's trying to convince him that it's not worth it, and they're staying together, but he really wants to go up and be the Antichrist. So he has this sword, and I don't know if you're going to get this. He kind of looks like a lame Drew McIntyre.
I don't know who that
Just be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally,
He uses the sword, and he's like stabbing. He's trying to kill Adam. That's his thing. He's trying to kill Adam.
Oh,
he's like,
right.
Adam's taking my spot. He's the favorite boy now. And so he's trying to kill Adam, but then at a certain point, I think she takes this scarf that she's wearing and she covers up his eyes.
She's like, I'm not letting you do this.
And so they go and they crash somewhat romantically
Off a cliff.
off
yeah.
a cliff. And
He gets a sword.
I would say the sword that he doesn't
Yeah.
know how to use, like the whole scene, he's using the sword wrong.
Yeah.
He also lands on, so I kind of agree with Beazle on this one.
Yeah.
But they still have Hellcop to worry about, and they're going back and forth. He's blowing the stuff out.
So they drop the last shell,
Mm-hmm.
and Rachel's on the ground looking for it and sees a bunch of switches, and it turns out that secret thing, it was just NOS.
It was NOS.
I don't know why he didn't just say, hey, there's NOS in the car, should you need it.
Yeah, I also like that it's
But
not like holy
fine.
water or whatever.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
NOS.
yeah. It's just NOS.
Pure NOS.
Yeah.
So they flip the switch and then boom, they're
Yeah.
gone. They launch out of there, leaving Hellcop behind. They
In
get
hell.
They get through the portal
Yeah.
and they're out, and it just shows Beazle, and he's like, huh.
Yeah, he's like on a little hill. He like
Yeah.
goes up to a little hill with his manservant. And
Yeah.
did he have a parasol?
Yeah.
The manservant? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like sitting on this chair. It was kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
But that's how he's
Um,
watching it. So, but he's kind of like, yeah, he doesn't seem to really. He's kind of just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they made it.
Yeah. And so
Uh,
they get out, and it kind of picks up where they went in, because the cop who he ran from by the billboard is still
Yeah.
there. And so he comes out and he's like, oh, we made it. This is great. And the cop's like, freeze,
Mm.
you're under arrest. But before they can try and resolve that, Hellcop says,
Comes out the
"And it's-
portal."
And not
Yeah.
going to happen that easy.
Uh-uh.
We also found out from Adam that it's his glasses.
Yeah, Hellcop's glasses are the only way to kill him if you shoot his glasses. Which I
Yeah.
don't really.
So he starts beating the hell out of everyone.
I don't
beating
get it, but
beating the hell out of the other cop. So
Yeah.
everything, assume now the cop will be like, yeah, there was a Hellcop there.
Mhm.
And then Rachel at the last minute is able to grab the shotgun and blow his glasses away. And then he explodes.
he like turns
and
into light and
Yeah.
blows up. Yeah.
bursts away. And then the movie,
The last shot is the devil sitting on top of the hill with the little in his chair, just like
yeah.
vibing.
I think it shows Clara's hand move a little bit, or maybe it was the wind. It shows the two of them, and
Oh,
there's
okay.
something implying, but it doesn't matter because we
Right.
didn't have any questions.
No.
Because it says the end, and then what happens?
Well, then it tells us there's about 10 pages of scrolling text explaining everything that happened afterwards, which was not necessary. And I
No.
would say the biggest, maybe the dumbest choice of the movie.
It was like
But-
the longest epilogue I've ever seen, and it was left
Crazy.
justified too.
Crazy, yeah. He started a video game company, Charlie.
Yeah.
He made a bunch of video games about
Which
hell.
is weird because the whole time we were talking about how this
Yeah.
feels like a point and click adventure from the 90s.
Yes,
Like
it
it feels like
does.
something Tim Schafer would have made.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly. Like,
This the presentation,
on,
and now
yeah.
you're in this world, and now you're clicking and putting these things
Yep.
together. And someone should do that because it'd probably be pretty fun.
mhm.
But
So, yeah, they get married.
they get married.
He starts a video game company and something about pizza.
Mm-hmm.
The dog gets an epilogue.
Yeah,
The dog is like becomes the star of dog food commercials or something. I don't
something like
remember,
that.
But
Yeah, Adam ends up living with his aunt and uncle,
yep,
but
somewhere.
then it goes. But he still makes sure to write a letter to the dog every
not
week.
the guy who got him out of
No,
hell, but
here-
the dog. Yeah.
So it's just there's a ton. There's no way to convey this without you actually seeing it. But there's a ton
Yeah.
of text that conveys
Huge amount.
what happens to every.
And none
single
of it is
person ever.
necessary.
None of it's
Not
necessary.
a word of it is necessary. You could have just the end is
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
But there's a weird compulsion to do this in the 90s.
I think it's because they had so much. The why is he a pizza guy? All this. There's so many elements.
They didn't need to clear any of it
They
up.
didn't need to clear, but they felt like it because the pages and pages of notes that must be here describing.
It's
this
so
movie are like-
strange. Like, I don't know. It's not used for comedic effect. It doesn't give you any information that you need. It's just
Yeah.
like, why?
I don't know.
The
Maybe they
whole
found
point
out
of the
they weren't
movie is
gonna
him
get the
saving his
sequel.
fiance. I assume they got married afterwards
Yeah, and banged.
and banged and,
Yeah.
and probably went back to the
Old
old
man said,
old
we
man's
want you to
shed.
make our wedding video.
our wedding video. And then he got naked. They all get naked. All three
Yeah,
of them. The
He
old man
films
too.
naked.
He films naked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it gets hot in there. But anyway, that's the end. That is Highway to Hell. Despite the epilogue, our reaction to the epilogue, pretty sick, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this may fall into my rotation as a like, oh, it's been 2 years. I should watch Highway to Hell again.
Yeah.
Why not pop that on?
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I saw Streets of Fire for the first time.
Mhm.
Never heard, didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
it just didn't make it into the syndication stuff that I watched it and I was like, where was this?
I think that's the biggest part of stuff like that. Also, speaking of streets, like I watched Street Trash for the first time a couple years ago, and it was like, how is this not on my radar?
I don't know.
Because it is like, it's that same kind of like, it feels like there was a level of production that is not present in most, and like care.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it is just that it wasn't in syndication on TV when we were kids.
Or it's like there's no way to cut out the nudity or the language, so like it's just not gonna get syndicated anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, this for sure felt like the kind of movie that you would never see the beginning of, but like always put it on TV and it'd be like they're at the diner.
Yeah.
And then you'd watch it from the diner through to the end.
Yeah.
And
or
then
you
you'd
just
never
like,
see
what
the
was that movie where they go to that bar where there's like a guy with a gun outside?
But there's also like, I could have sworn there's a scene where there's like a demon lady who tries to bang him.
Yeah.
You know, just these faded memories. But either way, I was into it. I really enjoyed it. I appreciated everything about this movie. I would say it's probably the best thing that we've watched so far.
I mean, that's such a low bar, though.
I know it is, but it's still above the bar.
It is. It's
still above
way
the
above the bar.
But yeah, so let's get into our final thoughts here, Patrick. Physique critique.
I don't even know. Who do you want to, I mean.
The muscle guy in the cage. We can. Well,
let's hear it. No, let's hear it.
Charlie, I don't know how old he was
shrimp.
when he made this, but you know, I always like seeing a grown man with the body of a young boy.
Sure. Okay.
I love it.
Let's isolate that. That clipped.
But yeah, there really isn't that much to go on.
Shockingly little
Skin.
in terms of physique, and it did make me realize afterwards. Wow, we've really only watched movies with muscle men so far, pretty much.
Yeah, well, you make the choice. The demon lady, pretty hot.
Very. Oh yeah.
Very
that
hot.
Belly.
And then, but then the guy in the cage, also, he was good. He looked
Probably
good.
the hottest.
I would say he definitely was the hottest. But given, I always rate them all together. Unfortunately, we're gonna give this one a 4.
Yeah, it's not
4 out of 10.
It's not good in
not
this.
great.
Yeah, in that regard.
Chase sequences. There's a ton of them.
It's mostly chase sequences.
It's one big. The whole movie is a chase sequence.
Yeah.
And so to choose one would be impossible, but it's just good. I mean, it's genuinely fun and well shot. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Sometimes we talked about in Santa with Muscles how chase sequences feel like they're padding to the film.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like that.
Well, no, because I mean, the movie is, I think, because the movie is a full chase sequence. The whole thing is a chase sequence. So it is. And there was thought put into it. You know, it's like, what if every car on the road was a VW?
Yeah.
There's just little things that make it a little more,
But yeah, do we recommend this film?
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
And not even like jokingly, like we do in all the other ones.
It's a good movie and you should watch it. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's really, it's like a time capsule. They don't make, I feel like they don't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah.
It's a weird time period. You can find all kinds of stuff in this subgenre that we described earlier in this show. But yeah, I recommend it too. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Really cool.
There
Next time, we haven't picked a movie yet. We're taking it.
sorry.
We're taking a little break that you won't notice.
Right. You're not
in our recording of it. We're going to take a little bit of a break, so we haven't gotten to pick the movie that we're doing next. But we assure you, it will be. We're going to double check to make sure.
We'll make sure it's bad. Yeah.
We're going to make sure that
apologize again for this.
But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, sharing this podcast, watching this podcast.
Filming yourself watching this podcast
with a 16
if you're that old man.
And go ahead and give us a like or a review or anything like that. That always helps us out, helps us get noticed. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Trash for Trash.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
I'm gonna rise to the top.